Hi everyone, so today I'm making Sweetly Clean soap. This is the third in our rainbow extravaganza. And I first made this soap several years ago. I made it twice in a row and then never made it again, and I'm not even sure why. So if you want to see how I make this soap, just keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to work with my Mahusif mold again, but I am going to split the batch out. This is how I made it all those years ago. I have a white base layer. So I decided it would be easiest this time just to go ahead and do the base layer separately. That way it can get good and set up, and also will reduce the batch size because that other one was quite hard to handle. So I have some kaolin clay in here that I'm going to go ahead and blend up. I want to add in the coconut milk because I did see a little bit of fat solids in there, so I wanted to go ahead and get it in the bottom so I can really blend it in well. So next I am going to add in my titanium dioxide. Now I want to go ahead and get this in also so that I can just blend it in super duper well. It's going to be just a solid white. I just think it helps it to be able to blend it in. Since I'm not going to be adding any other colors to it, it's totally cool to go ahead and get this in. Now, as I often say, white is subjective. It's going to look white in comparison to the colors around it, but it's important to realize that it may not be bright, bright white. And that's okay, because I like creamy colors too. So I'm going to put in my lye solution. Alright, hello friend, you're kind of being a little wonky here. Not helpful. It's important I just bring it together, that it's loose enough to pour out nice and straight. Looks nice. I'm going to add in the fragrance, which is actually a reduced amount because I didn't quite have enough fragrance for 5%, so I thought I'd put the most in the main, and then that would be awesome. It's a very strong fragrance. It's a very it's a fruity, very citrusy titch, just a titch of floral, and quite delightfully clean. I want to be able to get this nice and level, so it's important that I go ahead and get this in fairly thin so it can level out, and then I'll take a break in between if I need to. It is going to take me a little bit to get to the pouring stage. Alright, in it goes. It's going to be a pretty thick base, but I always have to consider that I plane off just a little bit of the bottom, so it is possible that it will, a little bit will come off. get as much in the corners. And let's just shimmy, just kind of shimmy it around, back and forth. So I'm gonna let this sit for just a little bit and solidify. I'll clean up this little bit, and then I should be ready to move on. So here we go on the main part. I'm gonna mix in the kaolin clay first. Let's actually save some time, and I'm gonna add in the coconut milk also. This one did have some chunks. I meant to give that a stick blend first. I have a massive container here of my lye solution. I thought I would be able to use one of the smaller ones, but I actually need those pitchers for the colors. So mix this big old amount in this big old pitcher. So this is going to get quite high up again. I am on the search for a new pot and a new stick blender. So I do just want to emulsify this. It's looking pretty nice. I do plan on stick blending each of the colors a little bit, so I think I will just stir in the fragrance. I want to feel confident that I have this well emulsified. It definitely looks like it. So emulsified is it's come together and it's creamy, but there's really not much for trace. I wouldn't pour a soap that's just emulsified, but since I'm going to, as in just pour it into the mold, but since I'm going to be splitting it and adding color, I am comfortable with this situation. Here's the remainder of the fragrance oil. These big batches use a lot of fragrance. Just gonna try to blend it in a little bit, and then it's time to start pouring off and just getting away from this big old pot. So this is about the biggest batch that I would feel comfortable with in this particular pot. So considering that this is just partial of what's needed for this mold, and the same with my confetti blossom, oh boy, it's going to require a very large pot. I'm going to just attempt to pour this, my friends. Let's see, I guess I gotta come back a little bit to focus. Okay, we're gonna try to do this. Oh boy, oh boy, oh looky, I made it. I'm hoping that I did not figure my containers inappropriately. I usually can make a 60 ounce batch in each one of them, so I should have more than enough. Oh my gosh, goodness. I was watching Ariane the other day, and boy, she gets a good hold of these things. I'm not quite that, I guess I'm a little bit too round for that. Gotta have longer arms and less other things. So, yeah, we're doing okay here. I do believe I'm gonna have to pour out. Yep. This pot is just awkward. So, that one's 1.5. Yeah, so, as you can tell, I didn't guess that one well at all. And a little bit of white, just a little bit. So we're getting a little full here. Not full, thick. We're getting thick, which will be fine. But it chills out, but I cannot see my numbers at all. That's 2. All right, so these are 1.5. And that makes that one 1.5. I don't like this pouring out because then it creates more work with the stuff in the pitcher, the spout. Okay, it is getting rather thick, so I'm gonna quit and let's get this going. I'm gonna put in the pink. Put in the orange. Oh, it's a good thing orange used some pink in it. Delightful. I may not stick blend these anymore, else I might be in trouble. I'm not seeing any separating or anything, so I think I'll be alright. I mix most of my colors. For this one rainbow batch, I'm using 14 different micas, but I'll fill you in on a little secret. I don't mess with the orange because the orange is brilliant. And the orange is electric orange from Nurture. You just can't go wrong with this stuff. Now, I feel like my color mixing is a little bit of a special situation, so I do kind of like to keep most of that to myself. It's not being secretive, it's just I've worked hard and I'm pretty good at mixing colors, and so it's just kind of my thing. And I just kind of add a little of this, a little of that. I keep good notes, but a little of this, a little of that. And that's not my goal, is to list out every single thing that I use so that my particular soap can be recreated. That's just my viewpoint on it. Not being rude or unhelpful. It's just let me do my thing and you do your thing, and I'll help you out if I can. But the main thing is respect. Let's just respect each other. Let's respect. That's our word of the day, okay? Let's just go with the word of the day is respect, because this whole country and world could use a whole lot more of that. So here we go with a nice blue. And into this one, we're gonna put a nice purple. My ears are burning up. Someone must be thinking about me at the moment. They are on fire. So, I guess I'm sorry if you don't like all the little personal tidbits. I like to talk to you as if you were just sitting right here, and I would think that if we were just sitting right here together, that we would talk about personal things. And when we talk about things that are encouraging, and we talk about things that are hurtful and bothering us. So my channel is just not much of a, hey, here's how you do it and that's it. It's supposed to be, you know, a friendly, fun place to show up, enjoy the art of soap making, and my customers enjoy seeing how I make the soap. And that's why I say not all my videos are tutorials, because I am trying to run a business and I have customers that enjoy my videos also. And another thing I wanted to say is that for every person that complains about something that I do that irritates them and I make an adjustment, I have their equal counterpart coming back and saying, hey lady, why did you edit that out? Because I like that part. With everyone being so opinionated on social media, for every little point you honk about and thumbs down about, that's what I say, quit your honking. For everything you honk about, somebody else loves it. So just get outside of yourself and be more considerate. Okay, so here we go with some pink, and this is what I do. This is how I make this soap. And actually, let's do more. Actually, the thickness of this is basically delightful because the colors are not going to over blend, because that can be really lame. This green is going to come back around and be more beautiful, so don't panic. And it's delightful. I know I probably have some parts that aren't completely blended, but we're going to roll with that, and we're going to accept that as awesome for this day. We're just going to save a little bit for splattering at the end, because splattering is fun. Isn't it hurtful? I would love to stop and take a picture, but I don't think that's going to be in my best interest. And it's fun. So you can see this is my regular sized pot that I use. Well, this is going to be pretty heavy, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get that first layer in. Oh boy. So let's look at this. Oh, not the side with the ripped off label. Beautiful. I can't really dip it. I consider myself a fairly strong person, but this is starting to get out of hand. Let's see. Trying to center. Can we call that good? All right, here we go. Oh boy, this is far heavy. Ugh. Are we in love or what? Look at that beautifulness. you can see as it shifts, it's still fairly fluid. Fairly. So the key to scraping this pot, be very gentle. No over mixing. I had to cut out a little section there. At least I'm planning on it. So I had a kitty come upstairs, had a little question for old mama. Okay. I'm going to scrape each of these containers down and kind of swish it around a little to loosen it up, and then just splatter. So I will probably speed this part up so that we're not here all week. So at this point, this cute little cup of soap is starting to get a little bit thicker. So this is, I guess it does still, did this have fragrance in it? It did, didn't it? I didn't intend for it to have fragrance in it, but it's alright. Normally I would just pull something like this out at first. So I want this to be white. Not really worried so much about glycerin rivers here in the top. I had to get a new stick blender shaft. That's why it's nice to have several. Obnoxious down in there. I feel like I should have like the Jeopardy thing when I'm scraping the stick blender. Tick tock, tick tock. So I feel like, I know I got some off, but you know, I feel like I scrape and just not a whole lot happens here. Sometimes that can be a difference between a successful batch and a non-successful one. It can be a difference between a batch full of holes and one that's nice and smooth. So just something to keep in mind there. So all I'm going to do now is what I did before and just kind of splatter this around. Not very well, obviously, but there we go. I probably still saved off too much because I don't want the top to be overly white. Since this batch is just going, or this part is going just on the top, I need it to be just a little thinner. Just gonna add a little bit of water, just a titch to thin it out. Help me do the splatter. I'm not worried about glycerin rivers on the top here. I feel like when I say glycerin rivers, it comes out glycerin rivers. Let's see if that helped any. There we go. That is a little helpful. Ooh, I better not get overly Well, that didn't help a whole lot actually, did it? Still about the same. There's a few sections here, like right here. The bars are gonna be just a titch taller. So I think for some of my soap ball batches, I'm gonna decrease my batch sizes a little bit. And it's kind of unfortunate, but it's a little too much to roll so many soap balls. So we'll just say that those are gonna be more of a limited edition. But you know, I could change my mind by then, because I have been known to do that. Alright, I think even though I have some soap left, it's just not much. And I think that in the long run, I'd just rather not add a bunch more here. So that's what I'm thinking. So now I'm just gonna take some snowflakey biodegradable glitter. This is not an iridescent glitter, it's just a shimmer. I did love my non-biodegradable glitters, but I'm trying to make good choices for all of us. We have Sweetly Clean. I think it turned out spectacular. I'm really pleased with it, and I would say that working with this size of a batch went a little better this time. So we'll see what we can do in the future. Alright, I'll see you back here for the cut. Here we are to cut Sweetly Clean soap. I made this on a Friday. It is now a Thursday. So it's getting quite hard already. This batch did some crack-a-lacking. That white base layer got real warm, and so the titanium dioxide did crackle a little bit. It's obviously not my goal, but it's one of those things that's actually quite pretty. In a situation like this, the whole batch is not crackled, just there on the bottom. So I think it works in the long run. I'm super pleased with how this batch turned out. That green, you can see, really lightened up. The base is thick with the pink and the purple just because you saw how it went into the mold. I kind of dumped a little faster than I should have. That's alright. We'll roll with it, won't we? I just love it. I love the scent. Just love everything about this soap. It's fun to work with the rainbow colors and then just have different results just by you know, putting the colors in a different way. Like I'm planning to do sparkle fruit salad still. It's pretty much going to be all the same colors minus the white. It's a nice swirl, nice wave, but it's going to have a different look, or at least it should in the long run. That is the goal. I love the top on this one. Yay! I love it. This rainbow release is going to be so fun. If you love rainbows, then I think you're going to just really enjoy this whole process. I'm planning to have special room sprays and wax melts. I don't know what else as far as sugar scrubs or maybe a whipped soap, because let me tell you something. I've decided I don't really care for making the scrubs, but maybe if I were to do it on occasion, it would be better. But it's just It may not be one of those things that I can keep and store all the time, but I did do that really fun rainbow rose sugar scrub in the rainbow colors, and it was just so pretty. So we'll just see. I have some supplies left, so it would be in my best interest. That's a neat one. It'd be in my best interest to use up the supplies at the very least. I have some fun wax melts coming for this release too. I'm pretty excited about this whole thing. So, moving right along. Every single one is different. Isn't that just cool? I love it. I love it. As a reminder, you can find information down below in the video description. I try to include quite a bit of information there for you, because I do get asked questions an awful lot, so I do try to have a place where you can go get a quick answer. So, for example, you can find down below where this cutter is from. You can find, let's see, I need to move forward just a smidgen. You can find where my splitter is from. I don't have it in this video. I split this loaf right after I unmolded it, which I don't usually do that, but I saw the crackling and I just wanted to see how in depth it was. It's pretty in depth. I know there's many of you absolutely love the crackling, and that is a desired effect, so I'm not going to be upset about it. No, I am not. Just love these tops. A splatter can be so fun. Look at this one, is more of a layered. That's kind of cool, right? Anyway, I was probably saying something. I don't actually remember what I was talking about now. Just in general on the lines of information that you can find in the description of the video. Nice. I'm having a hard time not showing you every bar because every bar is beautiful. I'm trying to, I guess it doesn't really matter where my arm is, hand is, either way. So I haven't invested in a multi-cutter yet. And I've been hesitant. I mean, I want one, but I've been hesitant because I don't want to be locked into a size. And I personally like cutting videos where they're being cut one by one, but that's just me. And I do adjust my bar size occasionally, like this little guy here slides. I do adjust it. So sometimes for me it's just a matter of a little extra time to cut, and it's enjoyable, so it's not really a problem for me. But my son and my husband help also. So we're doing okay, even though we don't have a multi-cutter around here. Sure, it would look cool and maybe like I was a little higher volume than I am, but you know, I love it. I love where I'm at. So there we have the Sweetly Clean, and it is just a beautiful clean. I say floral, but it's just very mildly floral. It's just a titch of floral, but it's just sweet and a clean, and I don't really know how to describe it other than that. That's why I called it Sweetly Clean, because it is just a sweet and clean, little citrusy, a little bit of floral. Alright guys, so there you have it. Sweetly Clean. So I'll see you back here for the next one, which is going to be Huckleberry Fluff.